Let's see some more headlines.
This could actually be Deltarune. It's Deltarune! We're here. Oh, it's real! Oh, new enemies! What in the world is this? Alright, here's chapter 4. Those enemies look like Rudens, but Flower King or something. Oh, what in the world is that? That's awesome! What the? That's where the soul attacks. Chapter 5, June 24th. Okay, so it's very, very soon.
Awaken your power.
Alright. Oh my, I don't even know what to say.
Heed me.
Alright, so I was honestly unsure if I was even going to make this part. Because, to be honest, there isn't a ton that this trailer showed to analyze, per se. There's quite a bit of, like, big things here, but they're fairly direct in what they say, but I don't know. I figured I probably should put this at the end here to at least talk about it a little. I do plan on at least releasing one final video, giving my predictions before the chapter's release. But that'll be its own thing, so we're gonna try to keep this short and sweet, at least. I don't have a script here or anything, just going off the cuff. So I guess for starters, let's go with the more obvious stuff. There was a human soul attack in there, so, you know, flowers probably representing the human souls. We kind of already knew this from Miss Mizzle's comment about the bluest flower, you know. But it's nice to have further confirmation there. Really interesting that Kris is alone in that fight. I wonder if maybe that could be like, maybe each character gets assigned 2 different flowers, you know, because there are 6 flowers, so maybe each character solo fights 2 flowers separately. Or maybe it's similar to Omega Flowey, where we get like teleported to this alternate space or something, and so Kris is alone or something like that. The enemy is not shown at that point if they would be on screen in the original. We don't know, but I think there's a pretty decent chance that maybe they would, and then they're just being covered up here for spoiler reasons, or maybe they just don't. You know, again, going back to those Omega Flowey comparisons, you don't really see him at all during those attacks, so it wouldn't be too surprising if they don't. So then we have the Japanese aesthetic. A lot of people on Twitter are making jokes about this, but for us, it's important because I have since day one been arguing for Alphys in the Flower King Dark World and for like manga inspirations. And this is huge. You know that Sakura tree that I used for evidence for Flower King back in the day? Yeah, that is 100% confirmed as Flower King evidence now. Like, I was not just making stuff up there. That's actually real. Alphys is very likely to appear now, especially considering what has been said about this chapter in the newsletter. They say that it is supposed to be like going back to those Swan adventures, sort of what we had in chapters 1 and 2, I guess 3 before, you know, the big drop-off. And so it would not surprise me if Alphys not only just appears in the Dark World, but maybe plays a role somewhat similar to what we saw with like Burnley in chapter 2. That would be really neat, I think. Alternatively, or not necessarily alternatively, she could also appear just with Alphys. Carol is pretty likely as well. We don't have as much on Carol, but obviously she seems to be a big fan of katanas, so that could definitely somewhat explain the Japanese inspiration there, or at least Carol would not feel out of place there. I sort of think the issue with Carol, I think, is given, you know, it's supposed to be this lighter chapter, Carol almost doesn't fit that tone, right? Carol is very serious as far as what we've seen so far. I sort of suspect she might be more in chapter 6. Like, we go into the bunker and then Carol follows after us, because Carol probably knows all the codes, right? So she could very easily do that. And I feel like she'd just fit that more tonally as well. But who knows? I'm not saying she couldn't appear in the Chapter 5 Dark World. Like I said, it's a pretty decent possibility at this point. There is this weird Ruden enemy. Like, it looks so, like, a ton like Ruden. It's definitely intentional. And it's green, pink, and gold, which, like, akin to believers, I guess there's something for you there. I don't really know what they're supposed to be. I saw someone suggest they could be like those little things you put in the ground to signify what type of plant, is in a pot or something. That would probably be my best bet because, it's like a card, but it's like a plant card, so it makes a little bit of sense for that to be there. The knight with the shovel knight, with the sakura tree coming out of its head. Not too much to say on that. Could be the mini boss of the chapter, maybe. The really cool design. Just not too much to say. Someone pointed out that it has a similar pose to Asgore when he's holding his trident. Admittedly, that's a pretty normal pose for like that kind of weapon, but still, it's cool. I think one of the... Okay, wait, before I get into that, actually. There's a point where Susie, Kris, and Ralsei are, like, running in their serious run poses, like, that is used for serious moments, and they're running on water, presumably chasing after something. You don't really see anything behind them, so I don't think they're running away. I could maybe see it being the knight, or something like that. They're chasing after something, and it's somewhat serious. People were talking about the anniversary songs reappearing in Chapter 5, or at least in the future chapters of Deltarune. That area, maybe that could have, like, the water play song. There was wheat there, so, Eggman stuff. Not too much to comment on that, but, Then, there's also this part where we see, like, a white feather. Some people are calling it the white pen of hope. I don't think that's necessarily what it literally is, but I do think it could, like, symbolize that. I also think it could be like the chapter gimmick, if that makes any sense. Sort of like the climbing and the teacups. Like we touch it and then get put into some traversal mini-game or something like that, Like it gives us, allows us to fly. It reminds me a lot of, if you've ever played Celeste, there's a feather power-up near the end of the game that allows you to sort of fly for a little bit. That's what it makes me think of, so maybe something like that. As far as other stuff goes, we know the gang is pretty much just going to be ignoring their problems this chapter, so don't know how well that's going to go, but we'll just have to see. Probably not. It's implied by the newsletter. Probably the roaring is coming very soon, so, that's fun. I don't think Friend's going to play a big part, like, in the bulk of this chapter. I think it might pull sort of a knight in Chapter 3, where it comes in the end and messes things up. Because obviously it still has a sense of connections there, but again, the whole thing is like, this is supposed to be the last hurrah before the darkness. And while I think this will kind of come back to haunt our heroes at the end, I think, for the most part, it's probably going to stick to that until the end. Which also brings me... It's weird that there's a sun, right? Like in the main piece of promotional art that Temmie made, there's a sun, because this is a dark world. Why is there a sun? So my thought on this, I was a little bit confused at first, but I think that might be where Asgore is. Like maybe he's surrounded himself in a giant fireball or something, because, he has fire magic, and we know he's supposed to be trapped somewhere. It would also sort of add to that imagery, we're like, oh yes, nice sun, and we just accept that, oh, there's just a nice sun, isn't that nice? Meanwhile, there's a dark truth behind the sun that we're ignoring and only damaging stuff by ignoring it, So I suppose that's most of it. There's, a little bit of Castletown stuff, and I'm actually glad to see that. The fact that the fact that what we see is so silly too makes me think there might be like more battles in the Battle Dojo, which I would be very happy about. I was very sad to see there was only like one, there was only one in chapters 3 and 4 that really bummed me out. But I think there could be definitely more this time around. Not too much else to say, I suppose. I'd definitely be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it in the comments below if you're interested. And otherwise, like I said, I plan on making one more video before the chapter's release, going over my absolute final predictions, both for Chapter 5 and honestly just the game as a whole, I think. Give you an idea of like what I'm thinking is going to happen. Probably not as like edited as my last video was, more so just existing to get my thoughts out there so you guys all know what I'm thinking going in. So I suppose that's all I have for you today. Drink water, remember to floss, and don't forget, the impossible is possible. All you gotta do is make it So, good night.